waiting for. Nick Walenda and his sister Liana walking across Times Square.
So much blood, so much sweat, and more tears than I've ever put into another walk.
25 stories off the ground, starting at either end of a 1,300-foot steel wire, only 3/4 of an inch thick.
You want to wave a little bit or anything?
I do. I'm hooking myself in.
Adding to the tension, this heart-stopping moment when Nick and Liana needed to cross each other. Liana straddled the wire as Nick walked towards her, unhooking one of her safety tethers more than 200 feet above the crossroads of the world below.
It's tight. Hold on.
You're good where you're at.
Hold on.
You don't have to move. I'm going to do this. What do you think, New York City? What do you think, world?
Nick made the crossover, but the brother-sister team isn't in the clear yet. Just as Liana goes to stand up,
The wire is really solid.
I hooked this pole in wrong. Hold on.
her safety tether.
I'm just fixing the pole. It's too short. I hooked it in wrong.
Liana was able to unstrap and restrap the pole, finally able to stand and start walking again. And throughout the journey,
Doing good, Liana?
Yeah, I'm good.
Nick and Liana took us along as they offer each other encouragement.
Good job.
Liana even singing and sharing her faith in this moment of tribulation.
In Jesus' name, I've got this. In Jesus' name.
The walk higher and farther than anything she's done before, marking Liana's first time performing on a wire in more than 2 years since this horrifying accident. And Nick seen here, clinging to the wire, but Liana not so lucky.
My worst nightmare 2.5 years ago to this.
So the moment Nick reached his platform, he rushed downstairs and jumped into a car to get back across, so he could wrap Big Sister in his arms, captured in this exclusive behind-the-scenes video. There was a lot of healthy conversation last night on social media about the event, and some people said, you know what, they were tethered, so where's the danger? And I think I speak for the Wallendas when I say, well, you try it, straight hand.
Well, you know what? I'm not. There's still danger with the tether, TJ, if people didn't understand that. And I'm here now with Nick and Liana Wallenda, and I'm happy to see you both on the ground. How about that? Liana, I want to start with you. This is your first big performance since the fall a few years ago. And when you got to the edge of that building and you looked out, what was going through your mind?
Oh man, you know, of course you get butterflies and a little bit sick in your stomach. Like, what am I about to do? What is wrong with my family? You know. but then I remember all the training and how hard I worked, and you have to fall back on that. You know, I knew my ability. I knew I could do it. You know, I was well trained.
And take us through those first steps, because the first steps seem to always be the hardest.
They are the first steps. Well, I had to kind of lift my pole to get around some of the steel sticking out of the building, so that was a little bit, you know, a little harder. And then I'd say about the first probably 20 feet, I was a little shaky in the legs, you know, but then it really becomes home. I remember this is what I love. This is what I've done my whole life, and it truly becomes home. It's sort of it's peaceful, you know.
And you started out on 1 Times Square. Nick, you started on 2 Times Square. You started a little ahead of Liana. What was going through your mind when you stepped out onto the wire? Were you more concerned for yourself, or were you more concerned for your sister?
Well, I was certainly more concerned for Liana. You know, I've done this obviously a long time and at a high level. And I was very concerned about that first step for me as well. And it was just because to access the wire was so difficult. I went up the evening before and realized that it wasn't going to be quite as easy as I thought. So I was not only thinking about myself as I was getting on, but I was thinking about what the guys needed to do and coaching them on how to grab her when she needed to get off.
And now to the part of the walk that left everybody speechless, breathless, whatever you want to call it, the crossover.
Yes.
When you squatted down, you say you practiced 25 times in a row to make sure you could do it. But how was it to actually do it on the wire, high above Times Square with the crowd underneath you?
Yeah, again, it's, you know, I was a little bit nervous about it, but and I remember that I did it 25 times. Come on, this is flawless.
What people didn't realize is my balancing pole started to slide down. I was wearing these Lululemon pants that happen to be slippery, and I'm used to practicing in jeans. And actually, my pole started to slide down, and I lost grip of it for a second. And that's why she said, "Are you okay, Nick?" Because she saw me starting to teeter a little bit, and it freaked me out for a second. And then I was able to hook her back in, and everything was fine. I was worried about her standing back up, of course.
But you wouldn't have known, because you guys had this dialogue on the wire. I think everyone expected to be quiet, silent, complete focus, but your focus seemed to be communicating with each other and also with your father, who was in the studio watching on the monitor. And you mentioned, and this blew my mind. You're on the wire, Liana, and you mentioned the accident.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you did that, did you know you were over it?
Over the accident?
Yes, that you were over it. You were comfortable.
I feel like I conquered it. It didn't consume me, the accident. I could have taken that fear from falling and never walked the wire again. I could have walked away, but I wouldn't let that fear conquer me, you know? So I pushed through.
And we heard you, Nick, you mentioned so much about fear when you were walking. If people would let go of their fear, how much they could accomplish, that so much is possible. Is that your message to people, what you guys achieved last night?
Yeah, that was what that walk was all about, was hopefully encouraging and inspiring others to overcome their greatest fears. I think that our society is gripped by fear, and we're held back from our greatest achievements because of that fear. And it can be silly fears. Ours just happens to be related to what we do because of that accident, or was. And I think Liana's living proof that anyone can step out of their comfort zone and overcome anything, any challenges they might face.
And how was it when you ran back to Times Square to meet up with your sister, and you saw each other, and you had that hug after you completed this? How was that feeling?
I get goosebumps thinking about it. To be honest with you, when I got down on the street, just to look up at her walking, it was mesmerizing to me. Just to see her up there after everything that she had to overcome to get there. I just wanted to stop and take it all in. I didn't want to run up there to meet her. I mean, I wanted to meet her, don't get me wrong, but I just wanted to take it in. So I did for a moment, and then I hauled butt, got up there as quick as I could, so I was waiting for her when she arrived.
And how was it for you to see your brother on the other end waiting?
Oh, it was amazing. You know, it just felt triumphant. Like we didn't let this horrible thing that happened to us, you know, rule our future, you know?
And the question everyone is asking now, what's next? What do you do next to top
You know,
this?
about 5 years ago, BuzzFeed did a profile on me. And in that I said I wanted to find a volcano to walk over. And I have found my active volcano. And that's what I'll be doing next.
A regular one's not good. You need an active.
That's right.
Nick and Leon, thank you both for a sleepless night last night and a breathless night last night for a lot of people. Really amazing what you both have accomplished. And I love the message that do not let fear hold you back. And we're so happy you guys joined us here on the ground on GMA.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you both. And George, I'm coming over there to sit next to you.
I was going to say, there's another thing we learned today. Do not play Can You Top?